Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Mad as a Goat. Today, I wanted to address some fun little legislation that passed in our parliament recently here in Australia, the social media ban. If you saw one of my last episodes I did there, I talked about the misinformation disinformation bill. Luckily, that one didn't pass, so we don't have to worry about that no more. But now we've got the social media ban for under 16-year-olds. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, how the hell are you going to know the age of people who are using the platform? Well, what they're thinking and what they're proposing, and they're kind of working in conjunction with social media websites, and even imposing fines if they don't comply, using biometrics or some other form of ID. Now, I'm not silly. When the government comes out and says, "Hey, look, there's been a couple of suicides. We're going to have to enforce a social media ban," I'm not, taking the bait. I know it has nothing to do with protecting children on the internet because we have whole divisions of our government and our police forces already doing that. So I don't know what the hell you're talking about. You're not buying it, mate. It's not even half believable. But anyway, now in most countries, as you know, democratic countries, you have like a conservative side and a more liberal leaning side of politics, and we have that here in Australia. The Labor Party would be more the left wing kind of socialist party, and the Liberal Party would be more the conservative, get down to the brass tacks and business of things kind of party. And over the last 40 years or so, the Liberal Party has made a lot of missteps and a lot of bad judgments, and kind of won themselves a reputation of like, just don't trust what those guys are saying. Even though Scott Morrison won a couple of years ago, we're just going to ignore that. Not all Australians, but most people who have been paying attention would be like, yeah, the Liberal Party's not the way to go. Labor's usually the one that most working class people go for because they, in the past, have proven that they, work for the people. But recently, that image is getting eroded on both sides. It's starting to become like a uni party where both sides are essentially doing just about the same thing. The only differentiating thing between our two major parties here in Australia is one wants to do full renewable energy, which, we can all have doubts about that. I don't know if the technology is really there to implement it as the only source of power for an entire country of millions of people. I don't think it's entirely practical, but anyway, the other side going for nuclear. And a lot of people hear nuclear and think, oh my god, Chernobyl and all this. But there's been many advancements in the technology, and it's something worth at least exploring or thinking about and not being totally closed minded to. But anyway, with our major parties, those are the differences. You're either going full like solar panels and wind turbines, not even hydropower that much. I guess that didn't really advance much. Anyway, or you're going with nuclear. So the good and bad is basically within that. In every other way, these governments work about the same. Recently, one of the other legislations they passed, apart from the social media ban, was also one of like mass deportations. So the Labour Party, the working class, the more socialist party, is passing legislation to ban kids from the internet and to deport a bunch of illegal immigrants. What party is this? What the hell? Everyone's kind of taken for a spin on this one because the Labour Party is usually the really nice socialist friendly one, but I think this is an observation everyone's made. This whole like woke thing that's kind of taken over, where it's taken over just being a good person and made it an identity and added certain things to it, has made it easier for the elites to basically put the blanket over your eyes as they completely take control. Or at least this is a narrative that I'm seeing a lot of Australians take. They think that this whole social media ban is just another totalitarian thing. It's not the Labour Party, the Socialist Party. These guys are trying to rule us. And the fact that both sides or both voted for it and very quickly, because this legislation went through faster than any other legislation in Australian political history. This was like written up overnight, slammed through the Senate, went through the representatives. Here we go, there's a law. And it's a mental law because, one, how do you implement it safely without, compromising people's personal data? That's like a massive one. And you're putting that responsibility on these social media companies and even imposing fines if they don't comply correctly, or if there's bugs in their system that you can't really iron out. People are saying this is a world first legislation. Not every world first is a good thing. Sometimes you don't want to be the first to do something. Maybe a trial run, a smaller version of it. Maybe choose one city and try it there and see if you can even implement it before just going, nah, boom, federal, it's going all over the country, let's go. And it's stupid also. Not only does it waste billions more of our tax dollars that they're already wasting all over the place on projects that are blown so far out of budget, the numbers just look more like phone numbers at this point. Anyway, this is not going to work. It's just not going to work. You're either going to piss off tech companies and make them just not want to supply their services in Australia, which is terrible because everything's online nowadays. So you're going to either fuck us that way, or you're going to compromise our data. There's like no way to come out of this where the people get fucked. We either lose all our services or have our personal data compromised. Thanks, Labour. Thanks for being the socialist lookout for the little man party. And of course, the Liberals went for it because they're all about being conservative. They'd rather everyone turn the internet off and go back to watching fucking mainstream media crap. And if you haven't seen this in the news, one of the CEOs of our Australian broadcasting service, or what is the ABC, Kim something or other, this guy started taking shots at Joe Rogan, and it's going all over the internet and becoming semi-viral, or at least on the scale of something that happened in Australia, because this knob, is taking shots at Joe Rogan while taking in billions of tax dollars and asking for more. You're gonna call fucking Joe Rogan a dirtbag, the common man that everyone likes. Meanwhile, you're sitting there taking billions of taxpayers' money to waste it on your leftist agenda shit. It's just, oh my god, people are so crazy nowadays. They're just blatant and they're just out in the open with their fuckery. They don't even try to hide it. And if you haven't heard of Anthony Albanese, our current Prime Minister, look him up. It's fucking hilarious. This guy bumbles his way through an interview, and you clearly know he's led by something else. He ain't doing politics. He's getting deals under the table, and he's bumbling his nervous ass way through this shit. Anyway, that's it for now, guys. If we end up with biometrics, there's only another year of this, because fuck that shit. Thanks for watching. See you next.